So, good morning, everyone, and
Morning.
welcome to the first training of the year. This is a great way to start the year, and we really appreciate you guys being here because this is one of our favorite trainings. And some of you that have been here might say, well, Jerry, you guys say that about every training. Well, yes, most of them are favorites, but this one actually happens to be truly near the top of the list because when you're able, awareness is the key to moving forward in life. And when you're able to become aware of how you're operating, at what level you're operating, it gives you some real insight as to how and what it takes to move to the next level. And so we're excited about this. In fact, we have two titles for this, so bear with us. Sometimes you might hear us refer to this as the 7 levels of conscious awareness, and other times you might hear us refer to it as the 7 levels of mastery. We interchange these titles. Mastery is actually the end goal, the end result of this training. So those two terms are interchangeable. The 7 levels of awareness, a conscious awareness, and the 7 levels of mastery. With that said, we're going to get started this morning. And I like to start by again saying this is one of those trainings, one of my favorite trainings. And it's one of those lessons when I think about it, I can go back and identify the growth and really identify the times that it helped me to grow and where this lesson came alive for me in my life. I can go back and see that as we think about it this morning. I had held this lesson, I had held this lesson, heard this lesson many times before I really understood it, though. So I want you to be patient with yourself. I didn't really grasp the concept the first times I heard it. And I think probably a good analogy would be is when basketball. I probably, as a youth, when I would dribble the basketball, it was better than 2 or 3 years before I got proficient at it. And with using these 7 levels of awareness, you might find you don't totally grasp it right away. And that's really what we want you to do is to be patient. We want you to understand that using these levels, use them as a tool and as a measurement. You don't have to fully grasp every aspect of them. But keep in mind as we go through this training, the lessons are called the 7 levels of awareness, not the 7 levels of judgment, because you
Mm.
may be tempted at times to be more critical of yourself. And that's not what we're trying to do. And it's very easy when you go through this, as Q and I share these lessons and as we teach these lessons, and we ask you to look at we're going to ask you to look at 5 areas of your life to apply these lessons to. And it's easy for you to identify where you might be living at a lower level of awareness, maybe lower than you originally thought in one of the key areas of your life, and be like, oh my goodness, I've really been doing this wrong. That's kind of people's first reaction when you do something like this. You think, man, how could I have been this not so intelligent in this situation? How could I have done that? That would be the wrong reaction. That's not what we're really aiming for here. This is truly awareness, is what we're going for. And when you come into that awareness, even when you become aware of those things that maybe you're not so proud of, things that you wish you could, and would have done, or wish you could go back at it a second time. I want you to remember awareness is the first step in transformation, because you can't transform, you can't grow, you can't change or alter any of your life that you're not aware of, and that you're not aware of what's broken, or better yet, needs to be fixed. Because I want you to keep in mind when we talk about this, you're not broken. That's one of our favorite presuppositions in NLP. Nothing's broken in any of us. It's what's broken, right?
Mm.
Where is the disconnect is what we're looking for. Because again, you're not broken. In fact, you're in the right place right now. So the question is, so how do we move forward is what we're after. you're exactly where you need to be. So thank you guys for showing up here this morning. Everything you've done up to this point, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has positioned you to be right here and position you for the next level of your growth. And that's really a hard concept to grasp for many sometimes. And it's certainly when you're going, maybe you're at a place of struggle right now in your life and you think, how can I be at the best place for me to learn to grow? Well, I think all of us have had experiences when we look back over our lives, whether we look back 6 months, a year, 3 years, and realize, wow, I can think of some right now. Thank goodness that the tough conditions or the circumstances, because that's how I grew. That forced me to grow. It wasn't misplaced. And probably when I think back in my life several years ago, 4 years into my salon business, for those of you that don't know me, I come out of the salon industry. So I would have been probably 30, 36. That was a little while ago for me. And it seems like overnight our business went from great to where we were drowning in it. I remember managers quitting, staff and clients leaving. And I thought, maybe this isn't going to work out like I originally thought. See, I didn't understand. But if not for that situation, I would have never learned how to persevere in tough times, how to grow into the next level of my business, where I had to actually learn how to keep employees. I had to keep them inspired and motivated. That taught me all of that during that time. And I wouldn't have been able to, I wouldn't have had developed this whole new level of inner strength that came from these times. And those things prepared me for what many of us remember, the Great Recession, or even more recently, COVID-19. It prepared me for those. So as you go through this lesson, and if you identify with maybe one of the lower levels of awareness, please don't go to judgment. Now, at the same time, it doesn't mean we expect you to live there. And it might not make sense now. It may even seem like a nightmare for you now, depending on your situation. But when you're looking back, remember, when you've gone through it, you can look back and say, well, thank goodness. Jerry and Q was right. That was what I needed to help me grow to the next level of growth. We say at the Leader's Edge, you don't get to go to the next level. You have to grow to the next level. This is your opportunity.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. You know, I remember talking with a woman who said that she had been journaling for years, right? And she talked about how it's important, how it's so important to journal. And you know what? I agree with her. And she went on to say that one of the powerful things about journaling is being able to go back 3 years, 4 years, 10 years and see your thinking. And she said she would find herself saying, you know what, girl, why were you so upset about that little old thing?
Right.
Right. But then again, she's reading from the woman that she is today. She's thinking that's nothing now, right? Whatever that little thing was that happens before lunch every day now, right? It's nothing. But, you know, you can deal with it as long as you're growing, right? The things that you worry about today, you won't worry about tomorrow. With speaking, for example, we used to run a speakers club, and we would encourage people to video themselves and keep it for exactly that same reason, right? It's a record of where you were then. And you can look back and you can be like, well, dang, right? Look how much I've grown. I often see, you know, the memories pop up on Facebook. Those of you who use Facebook, you'll see those memories pop up of your old videos or old pictures. And I see those videos from 10 years ago when I started doing videos and things like that. And I'm like, wow, look how much I've grown, right? So it does work. It really does work. Keeping that record, it's really powerful. So what we encourage you to do is to use this lesson of awareness. Where are you now in life, right? It's January 2026. Happy New Year to you all. But by the end of this year, you can fully step into the person you were meant to be. And I could be biased, but especially by doing things like this, right? Being in a community of like-minded people, right? That want your success, hiring the right coach. There's a few of them right here online with us. Marie, myself, Jerry. Those are the things that will allow you to fully step into who you're meant to be. So what we want you to do is we want you to think of the 5 areas of your life, right? Think of your level of awareness as it relates to your spiritual awareness, right? That would be your awareness of your oneness with God. Think of the primary love relationships in your life, your spouse, your kids, your family, your friends, your loved ones. What level of awareness are you operating at with them? How do you presence yourself? How intentional are you about those relationships? Think of the flow of freedom in your life. This would be time and money. What level of awareness are you operating from there? Are you aware of the infinite potential in front of you? Are you operating from an awareness of abundance when it comes to money or lack? Are you aware of the time and the importance of time? Many would say that time is even more important than money. Are you valuing your time? Are you making the most out of your time? Think of the areas of personal development and professional development. What level of awareness are you at there? Are you growing? Are you aware of the growth, right? Are you being intentional about growing? Because there's definitely a difference between advancing forward and change. See, you can change and not advance, right? You can change and not move forward. Change in and of itself isn't really what we're looking for, is it? What we're looking for is transformational change, right? You're looking for that change that calls more life out of your life. And lastly, I think it's an awareness of your body, health of your body. We were talking in the Bahamas, I believe it was last year. Jerry and I, we were talking in the Bahamas about just how fragile our bodies are. 1 minute you're healthy, and the next minute something comes up, boom, right? What level of awareness are you operating at in terms of how intentional you are about taking care of your body? What you put in your mouth, how you eat, how you sleep, regular exercise. So as we go through this lesson, just think of those 5 areas of your life. And as we go through the 7 levels of awareness or the 7 levels of mastery, you want to look at not what level you're visiting, because the truth is you're going to visit all 7 levels in all 5 areas of your life, and maybe even every day for some of us, right? So here's a peek into the lesson already. We're just going to let you know straight up, the lowest level of awareness is called animal, okay? And the highest level of awareness is mastery. So when we wake up, you know, at least I do, I don't know about you, you speak for yourself, oftentimes wake up at a level of mastery, right? I wake up, I'm feeling good, I'm energized, I'm ready to go, right? When we wake up, head's clear. And then sometimes we're at the animal level before we even step foot out the door, right? So you stub your toe when you get up, you're yelling out, I'm so clumsy, it's such an idiot. Your kid leaves a toy on the ground, you stub your toe, then you step on a Lego, and you know what? That's it for the rest of the day, right? You went from mastery down to animal just like that. Reactionary.
Yeah, that's a cute. I can only imagine stepping on a Lego. I have grands at 6 in the morning, you know, and dig it into my foot. And then immediately, of course, I want to go to blame. Who left that Lego? I mean, think about where you visit, as what Q is saying, but where you not where you're visiting in those moments, but where you're renting space, where you're living, where you're camping out at, right? Because again, you're going to visit all 7 levels of awareness every day of your life, but you're going to identify, our goal in this training is for you to identify where you might be camping out. And you want to know, is that really the best that life has for you? Is that the level of awareness really, is that good? Is it really as good as it's going to get for you? Or is there actually more? Perhaps this is an opportunity for you to become aware of more and then seek more and then actually find more, right? And do and have more. That's what this month is about for all of us. That's really the invitation of this training. See, we always encourage people that whenever you do any exercise or awareness exercises, we can call this for this month, that they do it through two filters. And the first filter is the filter of purpose. How does this fit into those 5 levels? In other words, as Q and I share these 7 levels of awareness this month, to what purpose would you apply any of these aha moments, any of these insights, any of these new ideas that come to mind? To what purpose would you apply it? I mean, maybe you're on this call because you're looking to grow a new business, or maybe you're on this call because of some personal advancements you want to make. Maybe you're looking to grow financially even. Maybe you've got some financial goals that, that's really where you're focused at right now. A lot of us this time of year is finances, or maybe you're focused on health. Maybe you're committed to having good health in the beginning of the year. And maybe you've been really diligent so far and you're going great with it. You want it to continue. Because as Q said, sometimes we start at mastery, and before we step out at the house, we're already back down at the animal level. Maybe you made a commitment in January, which we often do, and you kind of fell off the wagon. Hopefully not already, but I'm trying to get ahead of this with you. And now it's time for you to go back, get back. But either way, no matter where you're at, you might want to take these lessons and these new ideas or thinking that you actually benefit from it and apply it in those particular areas of your life. I know many of you are aspiring owners, business owners, and some of you are coaches and speakers, and some of you are looking right now to become a speaker, coach, or business owner, or just looking to make a change in your life. That's a decision that you've made. That's a decision, and it's also an investment that actually requires not only a financial investment. It you might need to get a coach, and you might need to learn how to grow. To make that decision, you have to be purposeful and intentional. And if that's the calling that's on your life right now, you might want to look at these lessons as a filter and filter it through that decision that you've made to progress. How do you decide, in fact, in your life? How do you make decisions? Are you requiring or one of those that requires that everything be 100% sure for you? I mean, you hear people say it, I'm not sure. What they're really implying is they have to be 100% sure. They require themselves to be 100% sure. And even as I'm stating that right now, we all know that doesn't make sense, right? I mean, there was a time in my life where I couldn't make a decision to move forward or do something unless I was 100% sure. Why? Because I was afraid I was going to make a mistake. I mean, how many of us focus on what could go wrong far more than we focus on what could go right? And if you really think about it, outside of perhaps your faith and perhaps some relationships that you have with key people in your life, what are you really sure about? What are you really sure about? I mean, every time you actually get in your car, are you sure that you're going to reach where you were intending on going? I mean, if you require life and the conditions and the circumstances to be perfect, in other words, to be 100% match or 100% logical certainty, end result is that you'll never make it. You'll never do anything. I mean, would you? I mean, certainly you won't do anything of significance if that's what you're requiring. See, it's okay to make mistakes. We just correct them. In fact, they're a necessary part of the journey, right? I mean, staying still is the real problem. That's why we're really excited that you're here this morning. Whatever you do, you're doing something, many of you are doing something different than you did last year because I just met you. So this is something different. And that's a part of the journey. See, if you're moving, you can correct and find your way. See, the problem is you can't turn a parked car. You got to be moving in life. So as we teach, there's no such thing as standing still anyway, because you're either going backwards or you're going forwards. You're moving backwards if you're not going forward. That's the law of creation. And it's very clear about that. You either create or disintegrate. So when you hear someone say, I like things to stay the way they are, I know we've all been tempted to live that way or to think that way. Things can't stay the way they are. You either go backwards or forward. What they're really announcing is their ignorance to the fundamental universal principle, that law of vibration that tells us that everything in the universe, from the smallest electron to the grossest form of matter, is in a constant state of change. And there's no such thing as inertia. When you think you're playing it safe by not introducing change into your life, by not trying to move through these levels, you're really going backwards. If you're not moving forward, you're really going backwards. You can just be as intentional about creating and designing the goals and the outcomes that you want for your life as we are intentional about being attracted to this better safe than sorry type mentality. So that's going to be one of the outcomes of this lesson if you join us and be willing to move towards mastery. You're going to break. That's one of the breakthroughs you're going to have in this training.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That reminds me of that because you're either growing or dying, right? And I mean, that hits hard, but that's the reality. Everything you look at in life is either growing or dying, even in nature, right? You're either growing or you're dying. So which one is it going to be? But I totally agree. Life is about growth. It really is about growth. You can get growth from making mistakes. And I think that's one of the best ways to get growth a lot of times is by making mistakes. You can get growth from finding out what doesn't work, right? If that's not the purpose of life, then what is? Right? We're here to grow. Life is experiential. You don't really grow through observation, right? You can become aware through observation. You can read about it. You can collect lots of information. But like that other quote I've heard, you can't learn how to box by reading a book, right? You got to get in the ring, put on those gloves, and do it. And I know my friend Jonathan's in here. He was a professional boxer. So you can't box by reading a book, right? So there's nothing like that kinetic learning experience. You dive in and touch it. So when you think about if the purpose of our life is to grow, and then you think of these 5 areas that we've outlined, you want to be growing in all 5 of those areas. I would imagine at least, right? I do, right? So this is an exercise of awareness, not of judgment, right? We don't want you sitting there judging every area of your life and what you did wrong and how bad all of these things were. No, this is an exercise of awareness, not judgment, right? I don't think we can say that enough. So we're camping out here for a reason because, we could be coaching someone one-on-one, and this has happened many times. And this topic may come up where we say, you know what, it's not about judgment, right? And what you did wrong or whatever your perception is of it, it's all about awareness. And we go through this whole teaching, right, on what judgment is versus awareness. And inevitably, you'll have some individuals that'll start to go there and say things like, oh, yeah, I'm typically a terrible person full of judgment. And you're like, no, right? Be kind to yourself, right? You're doing the best you can with what you have, as you've always done, right? You're doing the best you can right now. So step forward into growth. So here's my question. When that happens, right? When that happens and we're coaching somebody and they go into that if it happens, this is what I want you to ask yourself. Okay. Knowing what you know now, would you do things differently? Yes or no? That's it. If the answer is yes, good, right? Then you've grown. Knowing what you know now, would you do things different? Knowing what you know now, would you behave in a different way in that certain situation that you're ruminating on, right? Operating from a different level of awareness with the shift in your awareness and perspective, would you do things differently? And if the answer is yes, then isn't that the shift that you're looking for? Isn't that the new life that you're looking for? Isn't that you picking up your mat and going and saying, you know what? I no longer have to stay in this condition. I no longer have to live with that consequence. I no longer have to be attached to that behavior. I can actually separate myself from that behavior, pick up my mat and go, got to keep going, right? No matter what you're facing, you need to move through it. If you step forward into growth, eventually it'll pass and you move on, right? This too shall pass. I think what's rewarding for me and even encouraging is there's probably hundreds of people, if not thousands, who will eventually watch these videos. I believe that. What's encouraging about that is that we are all, as a community, part of a movement that is kind of waking the consciousness of the people. What we really need, if we want to change the world, is we need to wake ourselves up, and that's not it. Then you go over to the person who's sleeping nearby and you wake them up too. So we encourage you, right? We always do, in these lessons, we encourage you to be the example, right? Invite your family, invite your friends to the Accelerator membership. As Jerry always mentions, don't grow alone, right? Be the example. The best we can be is an example to others. Wouldn't you say? That's the best we can be. So I know some do, whether it's on the recording or live. If you're a family, watch the videos together, right? Talk about it at dinner tonight, right? What'd you take away from it? It's a great way to use the program. Man, this is a great lesson. I really love this lesson. I know Jerry and Marie do too. And I'm excited. And I think I speak for the team when I say we're excited to teach this over the next few weeks. So it's going to be really good. Come back. Make sure you come back. Invite the family. Invite your friends. Don't grow alone. And let's continue with this lesson for today.
Yes, yes. And I agree. This is a great lesson, Q. And it's fun to be digging into it for the first time this month. So let's conclude this lesson by, restating the first level of awareness, which we're just doing a little introduction to it, is the lowest level of awareness. And we'll be going this month from the lowest level to the highest level. And the lowest level of awareness is the animal level of awareness. If you think about how animals operate out of instinct, right? They operate out of reaction. There's no thinking involved for animals. And I still remember when I think back, when I was in the third grade, we had a fish tank in the classroom. Miss Edwards was teaching us science. And one of the fish was pregnant. And she told us as soon as the fish became pregnant and gave birth, that we would have to remove the babies because the mother would eat them. Now, this took me, I'm a third grader, this took me a bit to understand. I couldn't get it. How would a mother eat her young? But I found out it's easy for fish. It's actually instinctual for this particular fish. It's feast or famine time as far as they were concerned. It's very black and white. And I found out that we can operate at a level of at animal level as well. We can operate with that same animal level of awareness where we can see the world as what's happening and what's happening in the world as it's happening to us. I mean, there's a language that comes with each level of awareness. And the language of the animal level of awareness is things you'll hear people say like, see what you made me do. Maybe you've said that or thought that to yourself. You really upset me. She made me mad, right? At this level of awareness, what you're looking for is someone to blame. Someone has to be at fault when you're living at the animal level of awareness. We're great at keeping score at this level. People who are operating at this level, you'll hear, you'll see them in relationships where people are keeping score against each other. You might say, I took the trash out today. It's your turn to take it out now. Or if something doesn't go quite the way you want, we blame each other. I think the other important thing for us is to understand that each level of awareness has a certain frequency. And within that frequency, there's a polarity. So in other words, there's higher degrees of animal level of expression, and there's lower degrees of animal expression. Let me give you an example that we all can probably relate to at some time in our lives. All of us have had this experience where we were driving on the highway and we've got our favorite song on the radio and we're driving and everything's just going great. And then somebody cuts us off. So somebody cuts us off, all of a sudden, bam, we're offended. And there we go. And now we're going to get even. We're going to teach this person a lesson, right? For most of us, though, we catch ourselves, right? We catch ourselves, at least before we get to the next exit, we catch ourselves. We let the person go their own way. We don't feel like we need to take them over or block them in so they can't get off the highway. But there's other people who will actually pass their exit to chase you down, right? I mean, they chase the person down and they'll go into the office and they'll talk about it at the coffee pot. They'll talk about it for lunch. They'll talk about it for dinner.
Yeah.
They'll rerun and they'll rehearse these negative emotions every time, which is really a bad practice. And they wonder why they're not feeling good every single time. And then the next morning, they might even get on that same highway and be looking for that person again. They're looking for that green Mercedes or what have you. I think all of us have had experiences sometimes where something happened. Maybe we lose our luggage at the airport or there's something not right. And we have this emotional first reaction down to the animal level of awareness we go. But we catch ourselves and we realize this doesn't really serve me well. This isn't really who I am. And then we begin to make ourselves available for one of the higher levels of awareness. Viktor Frankl said it this way. He says, between stimulus and response, there's an actual gap. The old folks used to tell us to count to 10 and create the gap. Well, that's an opportunity for you to take control, to decide to take actions that serve you. Yeah. And it's our freedom to choose. That's the one freedom we have, to choose our attitude in that very moment. It's the most precious opportunity we have. But many times, most people, they just go right through that gap. Yeah. What we're going to be doing this month is going through each level, identifying so that you can have keen awareness of what the animal level. We haven't really talked much about it yet. We'll pick up there next month or next week, and we'll take you through the mass level where sometimes we're not just following instinct or being reactionary, we're following the masses. We'll take you through the individual level where we start looking at, if it's to be, it's up to me. We'll take you through the aspiration. What's that all about? Where you aspire, you've decided you do want to do more. You do want to have more. And all hell breaks loose. And why that happens. We'll take you through the commitment level. We'll take you through the experience level and how all of this allows you and guides you to live at the level of mastery in the key areas of your life, no matter where you visit from time to time, where you're paying rent, where you're residing is at the level of mastery. We look forward to this. This is part 1 of the 7 levels of mastery. This is the introduction. That said, we want to hear from you guys. As a queue, we have 20 minutes. And also we have a link in the chat for those of you that want to spend the next month with us. I always say it's free. E. Marie and Q always correct me, say, Jerry, it's a penny. Well, to me, that's free. Okay. But in fact, I don't know if we have that correct link.
Yeah, it should be the correct link, and it's $1. Yep.
Okay. Yes. Oh, a penny. I said a penny. I'm getting even worse. Okay. I swear it's free. $1 is a penny. Okay.
I was like, where did the penny come from?
I don't know. But so Q, if you can guide us in a discussion, or hear from everybody. Let's hear what their take is so far.
Yeah. So we got about 20 minutes, and we would love to hear from everybody. And just take 30 seconds. And if you have a question, a comment, that's fine as well. Or if not, you can just let us know what your biggest takeaway is, or that thought that you're leaving with here today from this lesson. Who'd like to start us off?
I would, as usual.
There you go.
There we go. Laura, let's hear it.
I think about my age because I'm in a new decade. And some people, I feel, they get to a certain age and they stop learning or stop trying to do better. But I enjoy being with the Leader's Edge. I've been with it a little over a year now. And when I first came on, as I've mentioned before, I came on because I was invited. And I had fulfilled my obligation. And that was it. That was the end of it. That was going to be the end of it. And I got addicted. And I kept coming back. I'm like, hey, listen, you can spend that money on something else, but you're learning something, so I'm here. But my thing is, this topic is wonderful, aware. And I thought about it. It's in it to be aware of awareness. So it's making you cognizant or just being aware. It's just doing better, making yourself. The purpose is to be a better person. And some people get older, they figure that's it. But I'm always willing. I've always been a person that's willing to do better, no matter what, just to do better. Until my dying day, I think that's going to be my life sentence. I'm going to do better at everything, and everything, all levels. And I look forward to this. This is part of my life. This meeting is part of my life.
Well, you are my role model. That's exactly what I want to do. I wanted somebody said, Jerry, I'm sure when you die, you're going to have a book under your pillow. I said, yes, that's going to be me. Okay. You're my role model, Mother Laura.
Well, thank you. Pray for me.
Thank you so much. I see Tracy has a virtual hand up. Let's hear it, Tracy.
All right. I think Laura touched on one of my key takeaways or my key thought today. I think it was mentioned that we are growing or dying. And I think we're actually doing both. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the wonderful things is that we can grow until we die. We always know or should know that we all have an expiration date. So I don't think you're doing one or the other. I think you're doing both. So that was one thing I thought about. And the other thing I thought about was the judgment part. I think sometimes when we think we're spiritually aware, we are aware of not judging others, but sometimes we judge ourselves very harshly. And lastly, I will say that I have retired. And so now I've been thinking a lot about what do I do next? And the transformation part is important to me. So that touched me, is that I'm still going to be the same Tracy, but what is my next chapter? And there is a next chapter if I keep growing. So
amen.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Tracy. I love that.
Thank you for sharing. Who's next? Keep it rolling.
Well, you know the rule, Q. They got 3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't want to make y'all feel like you're in school. Start calling names, right? That's if you go ahead and volunteer. Who's next?
Charles has his hand up. Annie has her
okay, yeah,
hand up.
I see Charles. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Well, the takeaways, I mean, there probably are a lot, but I mean, this all feels like deja vu per se.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, I was telling Marie that I know this lesson. I mean, I really know this lesson. I know everything we all spoke about today. I mean, from the car chase or, each one of the levels. So, I mean, I can really relate to it. And I know what I do know is that since I spoke with Marie the other day, I really need to interject all of these levels into my life. One of the things that is really so freaky, for lack of better words, is I'm in the office the first Thursday of the month. I wasn't even supposed to be on this call. I mean, even as far as going to bed on time and getting up to meet this moment is coincidental. So I enjoyed I look forward to using it. That's my takeaway.
Yeah.
I want to make one correction, Charles. It's a
Mhm.
setup. No accidents.
Okay. Have I met you all before?
Not I.
I don't believe so.
But you feel the real deja vu.
Yes, 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 yes. The lesson, everything,
Yeah.
everyone that's on the call, but Hugh seems real familiar. Jerry, Marie, of course, and the whole
That's why.
lesson. Yes,
Awesome. Well, really enjoyed your comments.
thank you.
Welcome.
Yep, come back.
I was raising my hand to piggyback on what Miss Laura and Tracy was indicating. Because Miss Laura, she came right on in and she had came on excited. I wanted to know what, it was all about. And actually, I was telling somebody about the meeting even yesterday, and I said, well, I'll let you know whenever I know everything there is to know. But like Miss Laura came in and she was indicating, I mean, it's like because I've been sitting here for 3 of the past 6 months that I've already retired, stating I'm never too old to go back to school and learn this. I've been online already trying to find the proper school to plug into and trying to pick up the right, whatever it is that I want to finish up doing. But like Gary was saying, today could be the first turnaround. Like this could be our first setting for what we're going to end this life with.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it just made me real excited, and I'm just like more anxious now to follow you on through to see what it's gonna, how it's gonna be for me.
Yeah.
Not for you guys, but for me, because I'm the one that's seeking something different, wanted to add more to what I've already had in life.
Annie, I want to say two things there. One is, and this is for everybody, if you have somebody you want to invite to this lesson, but you want to make sure they have the foundation, just reach out to whoever invited you and we'll get you a copy of it to share with them.
Absolutely.
Okay. And also, I just want you guys that are new to know, though we charge very little for this information, we learned this from a mentor of ours that grew a team from 0 to 45,000 people, coaches, with this very same information. So it's incredible. I've learned so much from it myself. So I just wanted to share that with the new people here.
Yep. Okay, who's next? How about Charlene? Are you able to talk to us? And if you are talking, you're muted.
Hi, yeah, I can talk.
All right.
I'm
Hi,
just kind of sitting
Charlene.
in and listening. So, first time I was invited, so I joined this morning late. Sorry about that, but I'm here and just listening.
Welcome. Happy to have you.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just turned 60, and I'm that one that thinks, oh my God, my life is over. What am I going to do? I'm just going to sit and die.
Oh
I
gosh.
don't want to die. I want to live while I'm here. So,
Yeah.
Stick with us, Charlene.
One day you will, Charlene, but in the meantime, hang out with us, okay?
Okay.
all right. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. What about Jonathan? What do you got for us? And if you're talking, you're muted.
Say my biggest takeaway, learning is growing, and then if
Mhm.
your if you would, or yeah, if you would have changed something differently from the past, basically keep moving forward.
Mhm. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing. Who's next?
I'll go. I guess I'm thinking in my mind, it's nothing, it's never have a reason to say, I don't have nothing to do, look at walls, this and that. You can look around. It's always something to do. Somebody always need encouragement or help or whatever. So don't ever, well, at least I've never been that way. Oh, I don't have anything to do. There's nothing to do. I'm just, life is boring. It's always something to do, whether you want to do it or not. There is something to do, and it's always somebody to help. And I've learned through the years as precaution, well, kind of think before you act, don't go too quick at everything. And as I've gotten older, always think of safety, not to the point where you don't go forward or anything, but you got to be reasonable and think of how things affect other people, what you do, say, or whatever. So I just got a whole meal of ideas. Can't put it all, everything into words, but I'm getting definitely something good from this. But it's good to be aware, because you got to remember, I always think about the innocent, the young people who's watching. Don't walk like pins and needles, but you got kids that are watching. And if you exhibit all this, certain behaviors or whatever, remember you got little ones watching, and you want the positivity to grow, not add on to the world, the ill will and all that stuff that's going on. So just be aware of that, even though I know we're not up to it, but be willing to apologize, be sorry, or recorrect, do whatever. But like you said, keep moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It's good
you.
to hear from you.
Thank you. Yes.
I was waiting on you.
Okay. Who's next? Roshan?
Yeah, so excuse me. It was my apologies. So talking about it's the spiritual, primary, the freedom, personal development, and body. That's the five. What is that called again?
What's
What is that called again? The five, the spiritual, primary, freedom, personal development, and body. What is
oh
that
those
called
are
again?
those are the 5 areas that we want you to focus on when
Okay,
when you're
cool.
going through these
Oh,
levels.
okay. So the five areas, it reminded me of the conversation I think we had last weekend or something. I think in the text when we're talking about prosperity and how you can prosper in more than
Yeah.
just finances, but you can prosper in more ways than one, but mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, within your family and everything else. And so that kind of lit a light bulb up in my mind. And then when it's talking about not judging yourself, I know with this job in the beginning, the roughness, my boss was like, "You're getting in your own way." And when it says don't judge yourself, like we're not able to really grow because we're judging ourselves and we're getting in our own way because we're not really accepting what needs to be changed. The same thing that even Reese said about basically you can't heal what's not revealed. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to this lesson again, knowing that I'm in a different mind, a different growth spurt in my mind, knowing that this is the second time I've done this lesson now. And so I'm excited once again.
Yeah. And you bring up a great point, Roshan. It's about repetition. You can do these
Right.
lessons 2 or 3 times. I'd even recommend that you go back and listen to them on the recordings, those of you that we did last year, because we used to say repetition is the mother of skill. It's all about repetition.
I think so too.
Couple more.
Who's next? Ronnie? We're coming down to the wire, right?
Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes, I believe. Stephanie,
For us?
Hey. Oh, she left.
what about Charlene? Is it Charlene or am I?
Charlene
She's already went.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm on this little phone. I can barely see anything.
Yep. Okay, if that's it, there's the link is in the chat if you did want to join us so we can have your info, send some reminders and all those kind of things. We are going to be doing this amazing lesson for the rest of the month. And as you can see, we're starting off with a bang, and it just gets better. So make sure you join us next week and the rest of this month to really get this full understanding and how we're operating in these different levels and how we can be aware of them, right? We talked about awareness, right? And then learn to experience it, right? Put it into our lives. As I know Charles mentioned, you know, he said, I know this information, right? And then he said, I need to use it, right? And that's what a lot of us do. You know, they say knowledge is power, right? But really, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power, right? We can know a lot of things, right? But the real proof is, are we seeing it in our results, right?
Right.
And that is the key. So come back and join us, and let's really integrate this into our lives.
Anything in closing, Marie?
Just great lesson. I love it. Thank you all for joining. It's been wonderful. What better way to start off your new year, right?
Right.
Yes. I'll just say one more time, this was probably my favorite because it's very practical. When we start breaking these levels down, you're going to see when you're in these levels and how to move beyond. And it was one of the most practical lessons we've taught in the last 3 years for me, and
That's
useful.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you all. Happy New Year. Let's
Happy
rock.
New Year.
We're starting off with a bang. Let's go.
Thank you. I
Let's
enjoyed it. Happy New Year.
Okay. See you next week.
Yeah, be safe.
God bless.
Happy New
Later,
Year,
later.
everyone.
God bless.
Thank you.